The year was 2010, and it was a monumental one. Apple released the first iPad. My daughter was born, and Mitsubishi gave us this, the ASX. Now, where the iPad and my daughter have changed considerably in the intervening 12 years, the ASX has not, apart from a nose job. What you're looking at here is a time machine. Despite its age, the ASX still looks really good, especially in this shade of orange, and it's one of the most popular cars in its class, with Mitsubishi selling nearly 15,000 of these in Australia just last year. And there's a new ASX on the way based on the Renault Captur, but unfortunately we're missing out on it because it's not going to be made in right-hand drive. So it looks like the existing ASX is set to become a teenager. The ASX has had no less than 4 facelifts in its 12 years on this earth, and this latest one was done back in 2020 to bring it into line with the rest of Mitsubishi's SUV lineup. And look, I think it looks pretty good. I really like this kind of horseshoe chrome shape that's going on here at the front, and the combined fog lights and indicator clusters, and these LEDs look good, and the front grille here has a nice aggressive, strong look to it. It's very distinctive. It's not possible to mistake this car for anything other than a Mitsubishi, which is more than you can say for some of its rivals. From the side, you can see that the ASX rides up reasonably high. This second from top spec GSR model gets black 18-inch alloys, which are nice and shiny. They look really good in contrast to the orange paintwork. We've got roof racks up on top here and a little fake grille just here on the side, which is really just used to plug a hole in the sheet metal where the indicator sits on some of the lower spec models. It's been moved to the wing mirror on this one. The back of the ASX doesn't look radically different, although for this GSR model it does get a little bit busy. So we've got a spoiler up on top here, we've got a blacked out GSR badge that actually looks pretty cool, and then we've got some fake vents, lots of plastic lines and textures, and what I suppose is supposed to be a rear diffuser down the bottom there. Now, for reasons best known only to Mr. and Mrs. Mitsubishi, they don't quote the official storage figure for the boot of this car in their stats. I had to go hunting around in a brochure to find them, but I can tell you it's 393 litres. They only quote the figure when the rear seats are down, which is 1,193 litres. Either way, it's a good amount of space. I do like the rear light clusters here on the back, by the way. They look really cool with some nice clear plastic up here on top, and the LED red lights here look awesome in the dark. The ASX GSR gets the larger of the 2 engines available in the ASX range. So here we've got a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated MyVec engine that outputs 123 kilowatts of power and 222 newton meters of torque. Combined fuel economy is 7.9 litres per 100 kilometres, although I've been getting closer to 9 litres. There's a lot of empty space in this engine bay. There could be room for a turbocharger or even a hybrid powertrain. But no, this is an old car, you're not getting that. But it's when you step inside the ASX that it really becomes evident that you've stepped into a bit of a time warp, because the overall design of the cabin actually dates back some 15 years to the 2007 Lancer. And I know this because I used to own one. In fact, some of the switchgear goes back even further than that, some of the controls here on the doors, because I had a 2004 Lancer before that and it had some of the same buttons. It's dead now. But the one thing Mitsubishi could have updated in this car, and well, haven't, is the center console screen. Now look, there's nothing wrong with the screen itself. It's 8 inches. It's a little squarer than some others, but it looks pretty good. But the software on it does pretty much almost nothing. There's no digital radio, there's no native navigation. You can't control any of the car's features through it. It's just AM/FM radio. You can Bluetooth your phone into it, and there's wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but that's about it. The air conditioning controls again date back to the Lancer's time. We've got some USB-A inputs underneath that, a little storage tray here for your phone. The gear shifter is again the same as the Lancer, and the muscle memory of using that is works just as well here too, because it's got that same sort of shape to it, a little maze you've got to travel through to move it down to reverse, neutral and drive. A couple of cup holders next to that, a big old school handbrake, and a decent size center console bin with another 12 volt power outlet in there. The instrument cluster is pretty old-fashioned. I'm sorry, I know I sound like a bit like a broken record, but really this is really old tech compared to what you see in some of this car's competitors. So we've got two big analog dials and a small LED screen in between them that again only shows you very basic trip information in a very low resolution graphic mode. There's no digital speedo whatsoever. So you've got to get used to looking at those dials again, which is a bit of a change. Steering wheel, however, has been updated. That's nice and new, and it looks really good with a bit of piano black on it here and a nice little shiny silver GSR logo. There's no adaptive cruise control, but there is regular old school sort of dumb cruise control for the want of a better term. You can also control the sound system functions over here on the left-hand side of the wheel as well. The seating position, you actually feel like you're really sitting sort of on this car rather than in it. I feel sort of high up, and I don't know if it's because maybe possibly the seat in this car is broken, but I can't seem to change the seating position at all. But having said that, I've got plenty of headroom and good visibility right to the front of the car, and good visibility in the blind spots too, as well as through the rear vision mirror. The seats themselves look really good with red stitching, and they are accented with faux leather and suede. They're pretty comfortable. No electric adjustment, it's manual only, and there is also no heating. The back seat of the ASX isn't too bad actually for me. I'm 190 centimeters tall and I'm behind my own seating position, and while my knees are touching the seat in front of me, it's not a deal breaker. It's not a tight fit, so it's pretty comfortable. Hair just touching the top of the ceiling there, that's all right, I can give that a pass. Weirdly back here though, as far as USB goes, we've got one USB-A and one USB-C. I don't know why they wouldn't put a USB-C at the front, but that's Mitsubishi for you, I guess. Armrest with cup holders. It's pretty dark back here, if I'm honest, with the dark headliner and the darker seat materials, but it's not too bad. So as I said, the ride in the ASX is actually surprisingly high. So you actually do get a pretty good view of the surrounding traffic in this car. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with the way this car drives. It actually feels really good, and it's really solid and really well made. So I can see the appeal of the ASX. I can see why Mitsubishi, even now, 12 years after its release, are still selling 15,000 of these a year. The 2.4 litre Maybach engine in this second from top spec GSR model is good, but it does feel a tad underpowered, especially on a long uphill section. It just sort of feels like it's at the very limit of what it can do, and it really can't go any further. And this is where cars with a turbo just do a little better. One thing I have noticed today, although it doesn't look like it right now, is that it has been raining on and off all day, and the roads are a little bit wet, and the ASX doesn't really like that very much. It just feels a little bit unsure of itself if you take a corner just a little bit too fast. And when I say a little bit too fast, I mean, you know, going anything faster than 40. It just feels a little loose at the front end. But it certainly is refined in here. There's not a lot of cabin noise, and it handles speed humps and potholes really, really well. But it's reliable and dependable and solid, and Mitsubishi wouldn't be backing it up with a 10-year warranty if it wasn't. So it is a really well-made car. The suspension is just right, not too hard, not too soft. It's a really nice car to drive around in. It's just missing bells and whistles. There's no getting around it, the ASX is an old car, and that wouldn't be a problem if Mitsubishi weren't charging brand new car prices for them. For about the same price, you could get into a Hyundai or a Kia with brand new tech, fresh designs, and a more efficient turbocharged engine. But the one thing that Mitsubishi do have is a bit of a trump card, and that is a 10-year warranty and 10 years of fixed price servicing. But for somebody like me who likes brand new gadgets and innovation, I think I might be spending my 34 grand somewhere else.